Hello, this is Iron Defense Dale, and I am today going to go over day one of the WTDL Season 5 Draft. Now, here I have two documents. I have a tier list that I'm going to be filling out. I have the list of what everyone drafted in what order as it would show up. And I have some notifiers here. Season 4 champ, what's new, what is not drafted last season, and what was drafted last season. So first I'm going to go over some things that I noticed about these teams for day one. We have a lot of repeat Pokemon, some of which are on the same team that they were drafted. JKG's team having Typhlosion Hisui come back, but also having Tornadus, Hydreigon, and Klefki, all of which JKG has drafted before on a Sun team, evidently. We have a lot of weather teams that were drafted. We have Snow for Altix. We have Sun for JKG. We have some form of Sun for Ada. We have another form of Sun for Amon-Ra. We have Rain for JBX. And we have Rain for Pelipper. 6 Sun teams, or 6 weather teams, rather. That's impressive. That's half the league is a weather team. Okay, so some other things to really go over is the non-weather teams. Some of them are really defined. We have Ursaluna in DDF, Trick Room mode with Psychic Terrain. Maybe that gets fleshed out later. Nerdy still has a lot of points left. Gouging Fire, Chen Pao, very good. That's what I drafted. I'm pretty happy with it. And then we have just like a balanced team with Pixie, Ogerpon Wellspring, Arcanine Hisui, with Latias. Very strong right there. 616. Got Metagross with Screens and Como and Sinistcha. Pretty interesting combination. Well, I'm looking forward to see what else ends up on that team. And we have Yida with Mousehold and a bunch of friends. Tough to say what's going to happen there, but it's Mousehold. Mousehold's there. Then we have Whimsicott and Annihilate. There's some beat-up action that could happen there. Yeah, so there's a lot of different strategies going on here. And I'm looking forward to going over this tier list with it. So, first up, we have the Bewares. Right here. Nerdy drafted Ursaluna in DDF, Scrafty, Braviary, and Torracat day one. There's 2 Intimidators there. There's Psychic Terrain and Trick Room in DD with Follow Me. Ursaluna's looking real good right there. Braviary is an Intimidate protection for Ursaluna and is immune to Earthquake, so there can be some action there if it isn't resolved. Or you don't have an answer for it. Could just have Braviary next to Ursaluna and spam Earthquakes. And that could be a miserable time. So, Nerdy's team, I think, goes in S. Kind of weird that I'm starting out with an S, but I genuinely believe in this team so far. It's got a lot of sauce. A lot of sauce. I don't think it even matters that there's 2 Trick Room setters and there's Psychic Terrain. It doesn't, or 2 Fake Out users and Psychic Terrain. I don't think it matters. Because both of them are also Intimidators. They're both Incineroar Light. He has 2 Incineroars. Just different a little bit. That could be fun. Also, Scrafty gets coaching. That's a good time. Not really. And works well in Trick Room. So I do like Nerdy's team quite a bit. Next we have Blazikens. Burnt Corn Blazikens. That is 616. That's Metagross, Grimmsnarl, Sinistcha, Como, Moltres. Sinistcha and Como being drafted around 3 and 4 are quite interesting. I think there's a lot of potential there. And getting screens for Como. It sounds odd, but I think Metagross is the odd one out. Maybe there's something to say about Metagross getting a true partner later. But I think Metagross is just the odd Pokemon out. I'd like to see Metagross get a partner, and because of that, I think it goes in the whelming category. If Metagross gets a partner that enables like weakness policy, like a bulldoze user, or something along that line, I think we could be talking about um, Metagross and Como being an absolute threat, because you have to prepare for both. Then we're talking maybe going up to the overwhelming category, and if there's even some really wild picks, because 616 still has some points to spend in Tier 3, getting a Tier 3 pick that can do something to help it out, that could be a great situation for that team. Right now it's in whelming. Bullet Punch, that is Ada. Ada's team, Torkoal, Walking Wake, Hisui, Lilligant, Florges, Kilowattrel. Torkoal, Walking Wake, Hisui to start out is amazing and can do a ton for the team. Getting fast Tailwind and Kilowattrel is nice, but it really relies on Sash. So it's really a choice between Lilligant, Hisui, and Kilowattrel getting the Sash. Florges is awesome for the team because needing a Fairy type to eat up Dragon type hits for Walking Wake is important. Also, just punishing Dragon types with a big Moonblast. And Pollen Puff for Torkoal potentially. I like Florges. I think Kilowattrel is not going to see as much action for Tier 2 that I would like. I could be proven wrong. So I'm going to put this in the overwhelming category, but it's probably going to get passed up by other in the category. I think the first three are really good, and then Florges is a decent pick in the middle. Kilowattrel just doesn't feel like it belongs. Next up, the Heatrans. If I remember correctly, the Heatrans are Amon-Ray's team. And Amon-Ray got Fluttermane, Ninetales, Raging Bolt, Lilligant, regular Lilligant, and Cinderace. That is 2 fire types, 2 sun-loving special attackers, and a Lilligant that loves sun as well. There is finally a physical attacker, but no physical wall for this team. I think that can be pretty tough. I feel like Fluttermane and Raging Bolt fill the same role, and Fluttermane's really, really fast, but there's no, like, Tailwind on this team. There's no Trick Room on this team. I guess Fluttermane can run it, but it doesn't. It's just, you're at the speed you're at, and you gotta match. Whether that be with priority, spam Raging Bolt, or just super fast Sleep Powders from Lilligant. Ninetales is the enabler of the team, and I think getting a second enabler would have been really good in Cinderace's place. I'm okay with the team. It's weird to say Fluttermane and Raging Bolt, 2 Pokemon I said were top 3 in the draft, not being all that good. But I think this team is underwhelming. It needs something. It needs redirection. It needs something from Amon-Ray. And Amon-Ray does not have a lot of points left, so this will be interesting to see what gets drafted. I think redirection is in order somewhere. So I'm going to put this in underwhelming. Next, we have the Snorlaxes. I think this is Altix. This is a snow team. It doesn't have a Snow Abuser yet, which is a little strange. It does have Tinglu Arcanine, which is pretty bulky. Bronzong for Trick Room, which enables Tinglu and is Levitate, so you can spam Earthquakes. And Snorlax, which also loves both Screens from Ninetale and Trick Room from Bronzong. So that could be fun, but I don't think Snorlax is all that in a bag of chips. It's okay, but it's very beatable in the current format just because there's so many offensive threats. I think Altix the draft is probably underwhelming, and more so than Amon-Ra's. Next we have the Luxrays. Luxrays are have Whimsicott, Gyarados, Annihilate, Pavilion. Don't have a 5th pick yet, but we'll hopefully get a day 2 sooner rather than later. Look forward to seeing what everyone drafts to finish out round 5. Fiasco has Tailwind and beat up with them with Whimsicott and Annihilate, gets Intimidate and a bulky piece with Gyarados, and Tailwind with Pavilion, and Redirection. Just a really solid team enabling Annihilate, but I'm not sure if I know it might be just because there isn't a 5th pick, and the 5th pick will really determine how I feel. But at this moment, I would probably put it in underwhelming, but because there's no 5th pick and I trust the Luxrays, put it in whelming, below Burncorn Blazikins. And we're going to see what Fiasco can do in the next several rounds. Next, I'm going to skip me. I'm going to do me last. Next, we have Raging Roars. That is JBX. Urshifu, Rapid Strike, Politoed, Ludicolo, Comfey, Salamence. The Rain with Salamence and Ludicolo is very similar to what Nerdy's team was last season. Made it to the finals with those two, getting carried by Ludicolo at times. No Pelipper because Pelipper got sniped by Score. So Urshifu does not get Pelipper, gets Politoed. And Comfey is good, gets priority, gets Tailwind, gets some priority healing in Floral, the Floral move. I'm drawing a blank on its name. That one. And it gets priority on Giga Drain, Draining Kiss with Triage, all of that. Very good Pokemon. But there's no bulky piece to really need it. Like, there's no bulky piece here that screams, I want to be healed constantly as I just chip away. Maybe if Salamence is made bulky, you get away with it. But I think a bulky piece needs to be here for Comfey to do its thing. I really do. So because of that, I'm going to say JBX's team goes in whelming. I'd like to see bulky pieces that Comfey can really work with. Next, we have the Roaring Pelipers. The Roaring Pelipers is Yita's team. Maushold, Sandy Shocks, Spathra, Paldean, Tauros, Aqua, and Meowscarada. This is a team. This is a team. It has Maushold, and it does not have any friends that really it enables. Sandy Shocks does not have a partner to spam Discharge. Does not have a weather partner. Espathra doesn't have a Psy spam or Psy terrain setter. Meowscarada is, in my opinion, pretty mid, but it got drafted. So, and Paldean, Tauros, Agua, despite being a championship team, I think that's the best Pokemon on the team is the Tauros. I want to put this in D so bad. I really do. And you know what? I am going to do it. I think this is a D team right now. Needs some serious work. Maybe some trades after the draft. I think it needs something. It doesn't feel right now. It just doesn't. It has no identity, in my opinion. An identity and a purpose is so necessary. So, it's not there. Next we have Pollen Puffs. That is Pixie's team. Ogerpon Wellspring, Arcanine Hisui, Iron Treads, Latias, Rabombi. Ogerpon Wellspring, Arcanine Hisui, and Iron Treads are awesome together. Arcanine intimidates. Wellspring eats ground attacks for those two. Iron Treads gives Steel. Arcanine Hisui, Ogerpon Wellspring get a Firewater Grass core out of 2 Pokemon. Latias gives a ground immunity. That's very helpful for the previous 2 draft picks. Rabombi fast Tailwind in case you want to be an offensive Latias not carrying Tailwind. Or you just want to have shenanigans with extremely fast Switcheroo. I think it's worth it to have Rabambi. Rabambi's awesome. I think this team, despite not being like flashy, like really flashy, I love the first 4 picks so much. Overwhelming. I love them. They're hard to stop. They're not going to beat you by some flashy like setup. It's just going to beat you. That's tough when you can't say like, oh, I just stopped this effect from happening and I can have a better chance. There's none of that. You just lose. Rain, sun, you lose. That's a tough way to feel when you're battling. So overwhelming. Next we have the Blackpool Roses. Blackpool is Scores team. Pelipper, Archaludon, Overquill, Thunderous T. We have Pelipper with Thunderous T. We have Pelipper Archaludon. We have Overquill giving Intimidate and Swift Swim. Depending on what you need. I like all 4 of these picks together. It feels like it needs more, but once again, it doesn't have its 5th pick yet. So it feels better than Fiasco's if I just look at it in a vacuum of 4 picks. Feels better than Fiasco's. But it still feels like it needs like a big, like, I don't even know if it needs a big pick. Feels like it just needs something else. It needs something else to really, another thing to do, you know, to really show up and do something. Maybe Fake Out. Maybe it really needs Fake Out. I think that would do it a lot of good. Some cheap Fake Out for score. But I'm going to put it in the Whelming category above. Is it above 616's? Let's say above Fiasco's, below 616. Next, we have JKG's team. Typhlosions. Tornadus, Great Tusk, Typhlosion, Asui, Hydreigon, Klefki. What a roster. Several of these Pokemon, 4 of them to be exact, were on previous teams of JKG's. Tornadus, Typhlosion, Hydreigon, and Klefki at different stages. I think the first 4 picks function really well. Klefki, I'm not sure what he's cooking with Klefki, if he just wanted a screens bot with speed control with Thunder Wave. But if that's the case, that's not terrible. It's a good Pokemon to do it with, especially with Grimmsnarl gone. So I think I like this team a lot. Do I think it's overwhelming or S? I think it belongs in S, below Nerdy's team. It's overwhelming Sun. Overwhelming Sun with no pieces that feel like they are out of place. Everything here makes sense, and I love that for it. It's got multiple Prankster mons. It's got some great offensive pieces, special and physical. I don't know how this draft team gets even better, but I hope it does. It's insane. Now we have my team. Where do I think I fit? Gouging Fire, Corviknight, Chien-Pao, Clefable, Bruxish. My mentality when I was drafting this was I'm going to get Gouging Fire, Corviknight, and then just farm tier 2, farm tier 3, and then get an S tier at the end, right? Just whatever's left. And I made the mistake of just like assuming everything that I want will be gone, and I'm just getting scraps at the end. Chien-Pao fell. And I saw it falling, and I saw Pixie having an ideal opportunity to potentially get a Chien-Pao. Wouldn't have a lot of points left, but imagine Arcanine Asui next to Chien-Pao and Ogerpon Wellspring and Iron Treads. Or at that point, there was no Iron Treads, but imagine Wellspring and Arcanine Asui with Chien-Pao. Wow, right? That would be a nuts team. Wouldn't be a lot of points left. Nuts team, though. And I wasn't going to let anyone draft Chen Pao because I wanted it. I had alternatives like Rillaboom at the time, but I felt as if getting a Chen Pao enables my Gouging Fire and Corviknight so much, and whatever light, low tier physical attackers I get, that it's so worth it to get with that team. There's a couple teams that actual VGC teams that have done well that had those 3 Pokemon on it, so it makes sense for me to pick them up. And that's what I did. So without like being too critical or too like I'm selling myself on this, I think my team is not as good as JKG's. JKG's team's bananas. Am I better than Addis? I don't think so. Am I better than Pixies? I do think so. I think my team is slightly better than Pixies, so I'm going to jump in front of the Pollen Puffs, and this is my tier list. In S tier, Nerdy and JKG. In A tier, or the overwhelming tier, is Ada, me, and Pixie. In the whelming tier, we have 616, Score, Fiasco, and JBX. In the underwhelming tier, we have Amon-Ray and Altix. And in the D tier, the D for Distinky, because Stinky starts with a D now, is Yita's team. Yita, I don't know what you're cooking, but you gotta do something. I don't like your team. Not one bit. Okay, that's what I got. Um, I'll do another update for day 2. See how far we can get with that. And I think I'm gonna do another tier list of this same tier list. See if anyone moves around. And I'll get back to that tomorrow. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next update and later in the season for all the battles. I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.